Good morning, it's Friday. My occupational therapist said I was squinting in the light, and so she recommended that I wear my dark shades. That's not just so that I can look cool, but it is an important factor in maintaining my street cred. So I'm waiting for more appointments, of course. Sue's gone out to buy some coffee, takeaway coffee, and a croissant. It's Friday treats. I'm allowed to have something sweet on a Friday. Otherwise, my sugar levels go through the roof because of the steroids that I'm taking. I woke up this morning feeling happy and joyful. I even played a recording of U2's song "A Beautiful Day" a couple of times, celebration of God's goodness and grace. And then I just read, I don't think I can read with these glasses on, actually. Jesus says in John 14 that my Father's house has many rooms, and he's going to prepare them for us, and he's going to get them ready for us. And if he says he's going to do it, he's going to take us there to be with him. And obviously I find that a great comfort at the moment. I was talking to a friend, communicating with a friend in Australia this morning, who's had several near-death experiences. And we both agreed that it's wonderful to think that we were going to be in Narnia one day with Aslan, one day in a big adventure forever. At the same time, as that hope, there's a condition, because Jesus says, no one comes to the Father except through me, he says in verse 6, I think, of John 14. So there's a promise, but there's a precondition as well. It's through Jesus. A guy called Richard Holloway, was the Bishop of Edinburgh. And a few years ago, he retired and really rejected most of the Christian faith when he retired. I think he had a lot of doubts and questions. He's just written a new book on facing death, which has been very popular, particularly among the liberal literati that read The Guardian. It's full of wise, practical advice about preparing for death, mortality. And so it's useful from that point of view. But at the end of the day, I think, why would I look for advice about death from somebody who doesn't believe in the last judgment? Now, I'm not being exclusivist here. I'm probably what would be called a moderate inclusivist, theologically speaking. That is, there are some people who don't always understand the truth about Jesus, but they'll be saved on that day. I remember a lady called Dorothy who had learning difficulties, and we baptized her. And when she gave her testimony, she just said, I believe in God. And that was good enough for us. I'm sure it was good enough for Jesus. So many people don't understand the true doctrine of the Trinity, for example. Who could explain that fully, or whatever it may be? So there's limits to our understanding. And there are some people, perhaps from other faith traditions, who come to an understanding of Jesus, which may not be strictly orthodox, but they're trusting in him. I had a friend who was a social worker in North Africa, and he was a secret missionary. And every now and again, his organization, he was there legitimately as a social worker, but with an NGO, but his missionary agency would send him messages to go and meet somebody. They had a radio program broadcasting in the country. And several times the same thing happened. This Arab man would say, oh, great to meet you. Did you have the same dream? And it seemed like there was a whole bunch of people who had a dream. It was the same dream. There was a river, and on the other side of the river was Jesus. And Jesus said, come on over. And so in the dream, they crossed over to be with Jesus. And it seemed like lots of Muslim people were having the same dream. Of course, my friend was English. He hadn't had that dream. But he was able to go into villages and talk to people and lead them to an explicit commitment to Christ. There is an encounter with Christ. There are many rooms in his Father's house available for us. But it's through Jesus. It's through Jesus. And there is a last judgment. And so there's a promise, but there's also a precondition. It's through Jesus. And perhaps, the understanding of some of these converts in this Muslim country wasn't exact. doctrinally correct, but they'd given themselves personally to Jesus to follow him in situations of danger and of ostracism and rejection and maybe even death. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. The promise, the precondition, but the promise for you that there is many rooms in Jesus' Father's house, and he has gone to prepare one for you. And you may not look as cool as I do with my shades on, but I'm sure we'll all look pretty cool when we get there. God bless you.